Alright, let's head in the temple with Brother Jim TV.
Here we are. Give me the medallion, and let's see if I remember. Yes, you see, it can be manipulated, just like this. And there, a key to open the way. Now, where does this go?
Nerdgasm for Brother Jim TV. Best thing that ever happened to him. All of his research come to life, actually.
Oh, what I would give to have seen this hall in all its splendor, as it was meant to be. Still, sweep away the ice and the snow, and traces of beauty remain. I'm sorry, what? I was a little distracted, I apologize. These carvings were created just after Andraste's death, and they may reveal things about her life that we do not yet know. I think I need more time to study these statues and carvings.
Might keep you out of our hair, too.
I could not keep up with you with my injuries. I should be safe. I don't think there are any villagers here. Go. I will be all right. Perhaps my destiny was only to lead you to the Anne. It was designed to protect the Anne from those who would steal it or do harm to it, namely the Tevinter Imperium. I'm not sure. The legends were never very specific on that point. Only the faithful shall lay eyes on the sacred ashes. Death and misfortune await the unbeliever. The Maker's gaze has fallen on Andraste's final resting place. He weeps for his beloved, and his wrath at her betrayers endures. That is what the legend says, and the Maker may indeed watch this place. Read between the lines, however, and you'll understand that it is merely a simple truth draped in hyperbole and metaphor. After all, no one wants to hear, Willie toiled for many a year to perfect the curious mechanisms that would send a sharpened spike up the arse of the unwary intruder.
Oh, so traps then.
I think my decision to stay here was the best one, don't you? I'll be right here if you need me. Now I need something.
Okay, now this place predates the Chantry. Pretty sure of that. And the funny is, the closest thing nearby resembling a Chantry involved the male priests that kind of smack of Tevinter Chantry tradition. You can talk to Dorian about a bit of that in Inquisition. In his dialogue, he has a lot to say about that. I don't know if he'll necessarily really tell you anything, but he has a lot to say about it. Alright, now, in here, I learned one thing, is look for mages before going into a room, especially when you see on your mini-map like 50 red dots through the next door. Yeah, get Win and activate Mana Clash and see if there isn't a mage in the next room, because they'll wipe your party quick. The rest of these aren't really a threat, but if the mages can paralyze you and curse you and do whatever and throw fireballs at you and all that other nasty stuff, they can take out your party pretty fast. Right, now I'm going to try to find just about everything with minimal backtracking. I remember a little bit how this place goes. Seems like we have to search all these side passages until we find a key for a main door up here. I see a lot of red arrows up there. Let's see. I think they're on the second tier up there. They are. Okay, well, Let's see if we can get over here without aggroing. Oh, I guess not. Maybe we can just get them to forget about us. Maybe. And we can't even activate a door. It wouldn't matter because we need a key for this door anyway. Okay, so, alright, well, let's just go kill everybody and then we'll come back and search for all this stuff like that.
Light as a feather, silent as a wraith.
First things first, any mages? I'll bait him out somewhere. That's not a mage, it's all reavers. I can handle all these guys. Where's the mage at? That's it. Let's see, let me double check this. Yeah, okay. And I think that's where the like main key that we're looking for. I believe that's where it's actually at.
Old books. You think any of those might still be readable?
Okay, now I think those you turn into that lady in Denerim, that scholar or scribe lady or whatever, the one that's always looking for artifacts and stuff. She gives you a pretty decent amount of gold for that. Matter of fact, I'm really more worried about the experience than anything else. But alright, that's cool. So we have something to give her. Seems like sometimes if you walk off and leave a zone, when you come back, loot that didn't spawn before will pop up for you. See where my mages are back there, just dealing the pain and paralyzing folks and just doing their job. It's like they're supposed to. That's how the AI is supposed to go. In a recent video we covered team tactics and stuff. It shows you how I had mindset, and I'm by no means the be-all end-all, but it works. You know, main thing is you can sit and watch the Let's Play and you can see how I play along and stuff. And if that looks like something you'd like to do, then I did share the tactics that I set my party and team to. You've seen the party makeup that I normally roll with too. This is my ideal right here. When I'm playing a rogue, to run around with 2 mages and Alistair's a tank, and pretty much walk through anything. Not saying we're invincible, but pretty close. It's nice. Let's put it this way. If we were playing on normal, right here with this makeup, the same build, everything, honestly, I don't know if my character would ever even get hit, literally once in the game. I mean, well, maybe once. That's probably about it, but no, seriously, it'd be kind of ridiculous. And you'd be putting up enough damage and so on and so forth to 1 or 2 shot, you know, like everything, and
let us be careful.
It would be kind of ridiculous, actually. Alright, see once again. So there's a mage back there. And the XP pops up and he's down. We didn't even aggro anybody. That's cool. And we got another mage here. Beheadings. Getting a lot of those. I think it's on the killing blow if it's a critical. You get a messy kill. Which, they kind of took that out of Inquisition. That's something I kind of miss. Messy kills. They're real good about that in Origins. I guess it was easier to script in with the kind of turn-based style combat.
That wasn't so bad.
I'm getting some frame rate issues here in this part here. I don't recall that being a problem here in this particular area, but maybe so.
This should be easy enough.
Anyway, see what I was talking about with the mages, though. Once the mages are out of the picture, it's a whole lot more manageable. Mana Clash is pretty much, I'm not saying it's a necessity. Well, yeah, it's a necessity. It really is. Because mages are really your nemesis, especially playing a rogue. They're your biggest threat, and you can deal with them a lot. You're just kind of out of luck if they paralyze you with the, what is it, the Curse of Mortality, or whatever that's called. If they hit you with that and freeze you in place where you're taking major spirit damage over time, a lot of times, I think this happened once. I think it was in one of the ambushes for Wynn's little personal quest. I got locked into one of those, and I died after the fight was over, when everything should have been off, you know, but when you kill the mage, that curse persists after that, and you can die anyway. So... But yeah, once you get them out of the way, it's usually a cakewalk. Alright, now we have one over here. I see a lot more red arrows to the left, but that's behind, like, the main door here. Armor of Diligence. Okay, there's a Diligence set. I think the pieces to that are kind of, like, scattered everywhere. Like the armor here and some boots from a merchant and the gloves from somewhere else or something.
I sense something drawing near. Like feather silence the rain.
Okay, now there's a mage rushing into the action. This guy first. This time. I think pretty much how it's designed is by default, anytime you enter into combat with a group of enemies or a new enemy or whatever, you by default have all the aggro. Your player character. Or the controlled character. See, sometimes you can like switch to Wynn and walk in first, and you're going to catch all the heat. Seems like that happens too, so perhaps it's just the controlled character, but essentially, and keep this in mind with your tactics, is your job of your tank is essentially to pull the hate off of the main character or the controlled character back onto himself, and then hold it. Right? Not just to draw the aggro initially, but to literally pull it away from you first, and then onto himself, and then keep it on himself and off of everyone else for the rest of the fight. Each battle, essentially, that's the first order of priority. Is him pulling it away from you. That's paramount. He's playing a rogue, even if you have a real high defense and all that. Still, you're not by any means just going to be able to sit there and, you know, necessarily tank everything. You can tank the minions, the mobs. In fact, I've sat there in 4 or 5 mobs, and I probably not even got hit, but maybe once. You know, but you know, you can just sit there and take a beating all the time, especially not from lieutenant and boss level enemies. You know, tank needs to be in there and needs to be pulling that attention away from you. Okay, I see a bunch of enemies, but it's like archers. I think this is an ambush room with some catapults, maybe? Or something? Looks like a good save point, anyway. Don't remember exactly what this is. No, this isn't it yet. Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, okay. Okay, this guy. Yeah, see, you get him out of there, and it's definitely doable. Of course, if your frame rate drops to that of a potato, then, well... kind of hard to tell what's going on. Now, Ash Race, where they get you is they have a, it's like a war cry, essentially. And in fact, that may be exactly what it is. But they do this kind of AoE stun, knockback type of deal. They don't have a lot of health, though, so they're not that bad. Another thing to keep in mind playing a rogue is, notice Alistair ran to go get the attention of that guy over there. Well, essentially somebody ran by him. Of course, he ran by them, and they're headed straight towards your mage. Now, by the time they got to your mage, Alistair might say, oh, especially if you've got it setting, if anybody's attacking your mage, to taunt them. But then Alistair would have to move back into position to taunt them, and in all that time, that enemy is getting free hits in on your mage, type of thing. So as a rogue, sometimes just running around cleaning up the trash, you know, the little randoms that don't get pulled in by your, you know, taunt and stuff like that that your tank is letting off. The ones that don't get sucked in by it, then it's essentially the rogue's job to go and clean them up, to get them out of the way so that they don't focus in on your mages. Cause you a lot of problems. And so we have more. Okay, this is the ambush room, right? Is this the one I was thinking of? Yeah, this is it. Traps and those catapults over there, which I've never personally seen them run over there and shoot you with them. And they're really in no position to be shot by them either. You can use the catapults on enemies, but getting them to go jump in front of it and stand there and wait for you to shoot them, that's the hard part. Although, I'll tell you what, I think there's a trap called a lure. And just for giggles, you could probably put the lure right in front of it while you're stealthed and get them to stand in front of it and then shoot them like that. That would actually be pretty funny. Set the lure right in front of the catapult and they were like, oh, what's this? And then shoot them in the face. That would actually be pretty funny. Okay, now this, you can go left or right. Both sides have enemies. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go left and then I'm going to come back and go right. And I'm going to kill everything, because everything you kill is XP. And there have been a couple situations in the game where I could have either killed enemies that I talked my way out of fighting, or gone out of my way to get enemies summoned that I could have been fighting and didn't. So I've missed, well, there's probably a decent amount of XP. I don't know if it's a full level's worth of XP. Levels start to get pretty far, few and far in between at this stage in the game, but still. Nothing sucks worse than to be missing that one skill point, which isn't the case with my character. In fact, I'd be cool with what I have right now. If I didn't level up anymore, I could finish the game like this. Really just going through this for the playthrough part of it.
Ready.
I'm trying not to get impatient and just make a beeline. Honestly, I want to go play Dragon Age 2. I want to start that. I want to finish up this whole, you know, the whole franchise, the whole, you know, all 3 Dragon Age. And as I record this, as I'm narrating this, I'm actually done with the gameplay part of Inquisition. I have to go and finish up a lot of narration. There are quite a few videos that need to be edited and so on and so forth. But the gameplay's there. You know, that part of it's done. And now I'd like to get that done, get this tidied up. And this has been a pretty complete playthrough so far. I don't know if we'll get like 100% of the map uncovered. You can see on the world map, I forget exactly where it's, maybe it's in your character stats, but exactly what percentage of the map you've explored. And essentially you get a percent or a certain percent for each particular area. Like you go to the Brazilian forest and there's different spots there, and once you put all the pieces, maybe it's like 5% of the map per place that you visit, or 3% or something, and once you put them all together, it makes up 100%. But I think there's even an achievement for it. I don't know if we'll get to that. We may, because we've gone to some side areas and stuff. I mean, we've done all the main quest line and any, you know, all the little, what do you call them? The Blackstone Regular and Mage Collective spots, little side areas that pop up throughout the map. You go to them, and we've hit ambushes along the way, and then, you know, got into those little optional areas, you know, in between. So I think we've done pretty much everything. Trying to be, you know, as thorough as I can be, right off the top of my head. I'm not Googling missing side quests or any of that. I'm not going that far with it, but I've played this a few times, so I'm pretty familiar with the things we have to do here. Essentially, this is the last main story mission before Denerim. Then we'll get there, and there's quite a bit to do in Denerim. You have the Elven Alienage, which we can go mess around in there a little bit, and we'll see just how far Loghain has gone And once again, I think I'm hoping we'll find something, whether it's in a codex or hearing somebody say some key little thing or learning some new fact of the depth of Loghain's treachery or whatever, to prove my growing theory. I'm becoming more and more convinced of this, that either the Loghain we see here in Origins was being impersonated and it was never Loghain, right? Or that he was being mind controlled, either like Fiona in Inquisition or like the Lord Seeker.
That I can.
Either or. I mean, it's to the same effect, okay? But I don't think that's Loghain, and I'll tell you what, how many times so far, and I haven't pointed them out each time, but if you've been watching through the playthrough up to this point, how many times have we seen, and we're going to hear this again, that Loghain wouldn't do that. The Loghain I knew is nothing like the Loghain I'm seeing. The Loghain I knew would have never stood for the things that he himself is doing. He would have never done them. I think it's a bad impersonation by an envy demon. All right? I don't think this is Loghain at all. All right? And nobody, you wouldn't know unless the envy demon revealed himself. Other than that, it's a perfect copy or mimic. If you look at Loghain's face, he looks almost like he has darkspawn sickness. And, you know, well, I mean, I've had my share of bags under my eyes before because I've been tired and what have you. Oh my God, Wynn is just annihilating these mages. She's just such a beast. And maybe that was Morgan. I think I have Morgan set with that too now, right? But anyway, all right. So either it's either or he's just being mind controlled. Like I think there was some case with Fiona, and I'm not sure exactly how that worked. Maybe because Fiona's a mage, is that Fiona was mind controlled, whereas Loghain isn't a mage. Loghain is more of your like warrior, right? And so he has to be actually impersonated. And if that's the case, this could be the beginnings of what we saw start to come to fruit in Dragon Age 2 and what actually all comes to a head in Inquisition. And take that and roll with it. I don't know that there's anything in the lore that can disprove what I suspect here. You know, I can't prove it because I don't recall Loghain ever, you know, popping up and bending over backwards and screeching and, you know, yelling real loud, knocking everybody off their feet and doing the old envy terror demon thing. Okay, he never did that here, but he's acting like one who is being, who has a you know, an imposter in a sense in their place, or is being completely mind controlled because according to everybody that knew Loghain, he's not that man. It's not just she's acting funny, but he wouldn't even be capable of this. And I think even more so for you lore aficionados is that I'm going to throw two things at you for you guys that are much more familiar with lore than I am. But I'm just taking this from which you know we've talked about, including you, Pedro, and from what I've read and from what I've seen and what I've learned even further in my limited knowledge from Inquisition, you know, my little scrap playthrough there and so on and so forth. I'm putting all that together and I'm saying, you know, two things really point to this. One is in the lore, you read of Loghain's past and history and whatever troubles he may have had or whatever, his loyalty and his humanity and whatever wouldn't allow him to consider these actions, right? One that is an imposter of someone that thinks they know what lengths Loghain might get to and tries to disguise that in their own actions, maybe. But as far as Loghain himself actually doing what Loghain is doing here, destroying his own country, his own people, no, I don't believe so. Right? And two is they wouldn't have brought it up in Inquisition, right, if it wasn't possible. Right? Corypheus started drawing people to himself in Dragon Age 2. He allowed himself to be found. I think his influence made himself be found. He was obviously able to influence something outside of his prison because people outside of his prison were influenced by him. To what degree, I don't know. If he was in a weaker state then than he was when we actually saw him in Inquisition, I'm not going to get into all that. I couldn't know that. But the fact that his influence was palpable. It was substantial, right? Even then, we could see the beginnings of it with Loghain, because Loghain's MO, his actions, right, are in perfect line with the MO of the Elder One's schemes that we see full-blown in Inquisition. In other words, what we see Loghain doing, if you were to make a blueprint of how the Elder One works, how he does his thing, how he, you know, manipulates and how his strategies go and stuff like that, everything Loghain did in Origins was basically copied in Inquisition. by several different groups of people. I don't think any one person could be quite as effective as Loghain was here in Origins. I mean, he essentially single-handedly undermined the entire country and every defense the entire country could muster, right, to pave a way for the Elder One. And, you know, who benefits there? Well, certainly not for Eldon. It'd be, you know, whoever benefits from the blight actually succeeding, essentially, right? Okay, we see that same kind of machine in operation in Inquisition, right? So what I'm saying is I'm not so much knocking Loghain, I'm knocking the Loghain I know in this game here, because what we uncover as we play along is so much fucking just dastardly horrible stuff that, I mean, it goes beyond inexcusable. It's like wow. I mean, it's mind-blowing, right? Okay, well, the Loghain everyone knew is the exact opposite of that. So I'm going to almost say it can't be him. It has to be either an envy demon as an imposter, which wouldn't be revealed until later in Inquisition, or some sort of mind control. I'm going with the envy demon thing. And no one from BioWare has told me that, but I wouldn't be surprised if we find out that to be the case. If some history was revealed later in reference back to Origins, maybe in a future game or something that I haven't seen yet in Inquisition or something, I would not be surprised. Or to find there was some hand in there in some way, you know, by Corypheus himself, right? Or some power behind Corypheus. Maybe Corypheus, in his own ego and, you know, being an evil, rotten piece of crap himself, was totally unaware that he was a tool of some greater machine, you know, some bigger force, some older old god or something. Like I say, the religion and the spiritual aspect and the history and stuff is so kind of muddied and still so vague that, you know, they have a world of possibility open for them, which I'm sure is partly by design of the writers here, is you don't cut yourself off of, you know, future material. You leave the game wide open so that you can keep writing, so that you can keep, you know, doing this. I get that, right? So yeah, and I don't want all my questions answered now anyway. But that's just what I'm saying. So if you hear me bashing on Loghain, I'm gonna go ahead and clarify that a little bit. You hear me bashing on the Loghain that I see in the game, and I believe, in my opinion, and I won't be dissuaded from this. I believe, in my opinion, for all the right reasons, and I believe the judgment that I've given him is more than validated by his actions and by his being, not just what he's done, but what he is, right?
What's on your mind? I have watched you for a time, and perhaps I was wrong. There seems to be something special between the two of you. I think she feels she's truly found her place with you, that after all her wanderings, she's finally home. I think I was too harsh in my judgment before, and I am sorry. What you have may not last forever. Death and duty may part you, but love's worthiness is not diminished because of that. I should have seen this before. Instead, you learn to cherish every precious moment that you spend together, knowing that it may be the last. And for those of us watching, well, it brings warmth to these old bones to know that something so beautiful can be found in the midst of chaos and strife.
Actually, Lynn, I wasn't trying to talk to you. I was trying to disable this trap that you're standing on. You know, just saying. But it's all good. And it's neat that Wynn can learn that lesson now. Out of her own mouth, you learn that there was a time back in her youth where she couldn't have learned those lessons. Maybe even earlier in the game, she wouldn't have been able to, I guess, humble herself or open her mind enough to, you know, be able to receive. She's so busy preaching all the time that to actually be able to hear something. Her mouth's open so much that her ears stay closed. Seemed like, but seems like that's changed a little bit, and that's pretty cool.
I would rather not anger this creature. No mercy.
I'm not sure what the difference is between a drake and a dragon. I know the high dragon are supposed to be the females, right? But oh great, I've got like 6 freaking hexes on me all at the same time, and he's just gonna blow frost. You know, hey, Win. take care of this, please? Shit that. Okay. Anyway, as I was. Okay, now what's the difference between the drake and the dragon? You know, the little dragons, like the one we found in the Elven ruins, for example. Or whatever those ruins were in the Brazilian forest. I don't even think they were Elven. I think they predated the elves. Or the elves as we know them, anyway. Got into my whole, what I was seeing there when we were there, but there's something else to that. But anyway, there was a dragon there. That's what it said, dragon, when you fought it. It was a little bigger than a drake, much smaller than a high dragon, obviously. But how is a drake different? Is a drake a baby female dragon? Watching over the young? Or something? Anyway, well, whatever. Alright, now here in the tunnel section, it's easy to get kind of lost. Oh, that's right, there's an ambush. Oh, thank you, Win. Cultist assassin. Hey, I asked in the last video, you know, the mages have blood mages, right? And the warriors have reavers. What is the rogue equivalent? Would it be the assassin and the ability to go invisible, to stealth, to take a spirit form? I mean, you essentially can pass through enemies. And I'm sure that's not just an oversight in combat design or in writing. I mean, I that's probably on purpose. Is that it? Is the assassin the blood version of a rogue? It would make sense. I mean, you take life. You can utilize the stealth ability in order to kill people, and that's all. The blood powers really strive for is the killing and taking of life. Wow, Win. Okay, really? I can't pick up anything now?
It is no.
Stop that.
On it.
Now that we're buds, Win is going to conversation rape me every 5 minutes, I guess. Alright. I think we have mages here.
More enemies
That's an archer. That's an archer. Is that a mage? I think that's mage. That's mage. That's mage. How did my follower just walk through that? I guess that's something only I can trigger? Everybody's walking through that but me. Alright, well I'll just take the XP for turning that shit off. How about that? Once again, if the mages aren't taken out, those are nasty ambushes. Surprised Alistair was able to just run through that without triggering it, though. I'm glad those blade traps are not nice. Lots of loot, though. There's an arcane warrior back here somewhere. It's kind of who I'm looking for. I know one side leads to the end, and the other side leads to that arcane warrior guy. If you're playing an arcane warrior, I believe he has... I believe it's the best sword in the game for an arcane warrior. I mean, it's like a sword staff, almost, or something. I don't know, we'll see. In fact, this may be... It is. Okay, now that's the, what would you call him, boss or whatever. But, alright, so I'm going to backtrack. And then this other side tunnel where I should have gone right instead of left, or vice versa, whatever. Yeah, this is it. I recognize this place. Okay, what we have up here... If I can lock on.
I shall do so.
They call it cultist overseer or whatever, but essentially you can see by that that shield, that orb shield around him. He's a actual. No shortage of drakes down here, is there? I'm not gonna let these guys get in behind my mages. Yeah, you can tell he's an arcane warrior. Which is essentially what, like a mage that can channel their magic and turn it into strength. Yeah, spell weaver, there it is. Okay, mana regeneration, spell resistance, what have you. But it's mana regeneration from a sword. Anyway, I think it's designed for an arcane warrior. I don't know if it's necessarily the best sword for that's never been my preferred class to play. I've heard you can build an arcane warrior in such a way as to make it like a super tank or whatever, but rogues or two-handed warriors have always been my thing in this. Not too much about playing tank, because tank has its own thing. It definitely has its own strategy or whatever. Where, it's like, hey, hit me. Okay, and so instead of building your character and your party around you doing damage and assigning a tank and figuring out how to get everyone to hate your tank, you do have one little easier role, because everybody starts each fight hating you anyway, so you don't have to pull the hate, you've got it from the start. And it's essentially building your character to be basically invincible and to be able to take hits, but it's a little boring because when you're concentrating on health and defenses and buffs and what have you, and maybe even being a buffer for the rest of your party or whatever, you're not really doing the kind of damage that I like to do in these games. I like, killing stuff, to be honest. So they're watching the eggs here. So this is one big dragon hatchery. What were they going to do, take over the whole world with dragons or something? I'm assuming this dragon has entrusted these men also with her eggs and stuff. So there's definitely like a leader follower thing going on there. I'm still missing one of these tunnels, I think. I think it leads to another dragon, right? No, it's just another drake. Higher level drake. Oh, well, why don't you just eat my face? Don't mind me. I'm just over here getting my face ripped off. See you, Morgan. I see who's my real friends. It's things like this that show who your real friends are. I don't know how many scales that is that we've gathered between this and that ambush. It's probably 6. It's probably enough to make both of Wade's sets, assuming you hadn't done the circle tower. I don't know that you can get to the end of the game without doing the circle tower. I guess you could save it for last or whatever. I don't think there's really an assigned order. I'm trying to think of any parts of this that you can skip. It seems like what we're doing right here, seems like you can skip this. You don't have to save Arl Eamon or even come get these ashes. Maybe you do, but I don't think so. I think some of this can be bypassed.
You will go no further! You have defiled our temple. You have spilled the blood of the faithful and slaughtered our young. No more! You will tell me now, intruder, why you have done all this. Why have you come here? I am Father Colgrim, leader and guide to the disciples of Andraste. Kill us, and you will face Andraste. She will smell our blood, and the blood of her children on you, and her wrath will be great. She is so much more! She is even more glorious than all the old gods combined! The prophet Andraste has overcome death itself, and has returned to her faithful in a form more radiant than you can imagine. Not even the Tevinter Imperium could hope to slay her now. What hope do you have? They are still within this temple, but why do we need ashes when we serve the risen Andraste in all her glory? So you are after the ashes? Perhaps there is a way for you to make up for your desecration of our home and temple.
I sense somebody wants me to be their tool.
It may be because I believe in second chances. All of us stumble through the darkness before being found and shown the light. Perhaps, through Andraste's mercy, her greatest enemy will become her greatest champion.
Or maybe some of us just murder people on altars and kill innocent people and things like that.
You know nothing! Andraste revealed herself to us! We are her chosen! To arms, my brethren! Andraste will grant us victory!
Yeah, well, the only thing you've chosen is this ass-kicking I'm about to give you. Alright. I've got the stupid hex on me again. At least I can hit with it. It's kind of hard not to hit when I've got somebody stunned. Okay, now what I do here is I get all the damage dealers out of the way. These Reavers hit pretty hard when they hit. Right, once he's by himself. Ooh. Okay, FYI, this guy right here, if you choose to do what he wants you to do, and what he wants you to do is pollute the ashes for him, because he can't do it himself. We'll see why none of these guys can get to the ashes if their quote-unquote Andraste or whatever it is they're worshipping was so powerful. It wouldn't be a problem, especially if those were quote-unquote her ashes. But whatever the case may be, they couldn't do it themselves, so they want you to be a tool and go corrupt them for them by, I don't know, pouring dragon's blood in them or some crap like that. But if you do that and then come back, he'll give you the Reaver ability, right? That's how you get that. And you can actually reload and redo all this and not pollute them, and it'll still be unlocked for you on future characters. So anyway, just a little FYI. All right, thanks for watching. If you want to subscribe, click that button on my head. All my videos on the left, and I will catch you guys on the next one. You take care. Bye-bye.